This video is going to go over what are the 5 best long range rifles to use after the RPK nerf, which is what you're seeing on screen just now. This took place yesterday where the RPK actually got nerfed along with the KASTOV-762 and the Hemlock. I did try out the RPK and indeed it's been nerfed enough. Now what I think the number 1 meta gun is going to be the Raal MG. I do think it was better than the RPK to begin with. It's just that people thought it had more recoil. Now obviously it is a bit harder to use, but overall the TTKs are absolutely insane with this gun and it's always been the best when it comes to any long range rifle. For optics, we're using the AIM OPV4 optic. We do have it attachment tuned as you see on screen. When it comes to tuning, you just copy paste all this stuff. When it comes to the OLE laser, we are using that obviously because it's the best laser in the game, and we are tuning this once again more towards sprint to fire, a bit more towards idle stability, just because we need that extra control since they nerfed the Raal's recoil within the Season 2 update. Then we do have the high velocity, which you do need this ammunition type for the better bullet velocity. Now if you do want to get a bit extra control in your weapon, what you do is you slide the bottom slider towards recoil steadiness and you get a bit extra control. Now you do lose some bullet velocity with this, but considering how much extra bullet velocity you do get with this attachment, it's not really going to cut on it too much. And then we do move the left hand side slider to damage range. Then we are using the SA side grip. It is the best grip for the Raal, helps with recoil steadiness and stabilization, so it gives us overall all the best recoil benefits. And then we are also attachment tuning this one more towards idle stability and more towards recoil stabilization, again just because they nerfed the recoil in the Season 2 update. And then lastly we're using the Talon 16 suppressor, which is the best suppressor for the Raal. Overall the best balance of bullet velocity, recoil control and not conning your ADS too much. And then when it comes to attachment tuning, this is what you have here. You can go more towards bullet velocity or idle stability if you want at the bottom, but it's not necessary. Next up we have the ISO Hemlock, the new assault rifle. Now this gun, I haven't maxed out by the way, because the updates are coming out so quick I can't even max out the weapon. But also I do want to mention that the TTK of this gun is very similar to the KASTOV-762 before it got nerfed. Not only that, it's very similar to what the RPK had, just with an extra damage range. So actually overall this is a very solid choice. Any optic you prefer, you can choose whatever you want. I like the AIM OPV4. Fielder barrel, everyone is using this barrel because it gives you recoil control, bullet velocity and damage range. That is how you choose the barrels when it comes to long range rifles. We are using the Zulu suppressor. Like I said, if you check the sim.gg website, this is the best suppressor for overall bullet velocity, control and not conning your aim down sight time. And then we do have the Precision 40 underbarrel grip, which is the best underbarrel grip, hands down, there's no debate. People are still using the Ripper, don't know why, there's no need for it. And then the 45 round mags, this is the only thing that lets this gun down a little bit, but overall it's still going to be one of the meta rifles in the game. Next up we've got the TAQ-56, which everyone's probably going to be happy about because it's still going to be a meta choice, and that's just because it's easy to use. The TTKs on this gun aren't actually that good, it's just because it's such a low recoil gun, that's why people love using this. So when it comes to attack, again optic wise you could choose whatever you want here, but obviously I have the AIM OP with the attachment tuning as you see on screen just now. Then 60 round mag is an absolute must just so you can use it. If you do want to play solos or any smaller game modes, then obviously 40 rounds should be more than enough. High velocity ammunition, once again for the extra bullet velocity, is going to give you better bullet velocity and better control than the barrel will ever give you. So just tune it more towards recoil steadiness and you'll get a bit better recoil control with the gun as well, and boost the damage range because recoil smoothness does absolutely nothing. Then we are using the Precision 40 underbarrel grip once again. This is pretty much standard at this point. And then we are using the attachment tuning as you see on screen. Then we are using the Zulu suppressor. Once again, it is the best suppressor. I don't want to keep going over this too much because it's standard stuff here now. And then again, when it comes to the tuning, this is what you should be doing on screen. Now if you do want a bit extra bullet velocity, tune the suppressor more towards bullet velocity, just don't go too far with it. And then idle stability, if you do want extra control, then you can go that way, but again don't go too far with it. Next up we've got the KASTOV-762. Now with this one, it's a bit weird because what they've nerfed for this is only the damage range itself, so the actual TTK numbers haven't changed. It's just that the fall off is going to be a lot earlier, which doesn't really matter too much because the long range TTK on this gun is actually very good, and that's like the farthest away range. So it's still going to be a solid choice. We still need to test the numbers again one more time to see if they've actually changed the TTK numbers by any chance, but from the looks of it, it still should be a solid choice, and I have tried to test it out yesterday in game and see how it feels, and it does still feel pretty good, so it is still going to be a good weapon. TTK wise, overall it's going to be a little bit better in the Hemlock because the limb damage and things like that are a little bit higher, so that is where you need to make that trade-off with yourself. MOPV4, 40 round mags are absolute must. I mean, you do need it on here. You've got 20 rounds or the base 30 rounds, not going to be nowhere near enough. Then we've got the KG 406mm barrel, which is the best barrel for this gun. People are using like the other barrels, which do not help nearly as much. Again, you can check the sim.gg website to see which one's doing the best. This is the one that's doing the best. And then when the tuning happens, this is what you want to be doing with the attachment tuning. Again, more towards recoil control, a bit of aim down sight speed there. Zulu suppressor, once again, standard stuff here. And then attachment tuning is what you're seeing on screen. Again, if you want a bit more of bullet velocity or a bit more idle, then you can take either or, but I think having it right down the middle is perfect. And then the underbarrel precision 40 grip and attachment tuning is what you see on screen. Lastly, we've got the Sakin MG38, and this gun is a solid choice. I do think with the RPK nerf, a lot more LMGs will come into the mix now, and the Sakin is going to be one of them. In terms of TTKs, very solid choice. And as some guns drop lower down, this will obviously creep up towards the meta, and it's definitely low recoil as well if you build it out correctly. Optic is personal preference. Again, I'm not really going to go too much into that. You do need the OLE laser because it gives you so many good bonuses, and then obviously when you tune it, you want to kind of copy this tuning here. You can go more towards the aim down sight speed if you want, that is personal preference. Just don't go all the way on the slider. Then we are using the Zulu suppressor. Once again, like I said, this is the best suppressor. Check it out on the sim.gg website. And then we are using the attachment tuning you see on screen just now. You can go more towards idle stability if you need that extra control. Bruin Warrior grip is the best grip for the Sakin. This is the one you want to be using. It helps with stabilization, steadiness, and idle stability, so all the recoil stats essentially. And then we are going for this tuning right here. You could move this left slider more towards aim down sight speed because we are getting a lot of control with the bottom slider, so that is going to be personal preference there. And then lastly, high velocity once more, just because we do need that extra bullet velocity. And again, we are tuning more towards recoil steadiness because the amount of bullet velocity you get with this attachment is more than enough to deal damage at probably like 150 plus meters, so you won't really be noticing it too much. So there we have it. Those are the 5 best rifles after the RPK nerf. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.